It's yeah. What a 48 hour. Quick question: did you watch any of the hump today?
I watched when that bald dude went, not the guest host bald guy, the fat bald guy
The
went
Mitzi
on.
guy. First of all, that guy's a fucking moron, and I think,
That
and I
was
don't want to assume
stupid.
anything of Sean, but he definitely purposely picked that idiot to fucking destroy. Like, I
Like
think it was definitely a bit
better,
intentional.
better person than me because I would not have dealt with that. It was very weird. I mean, granted, his co-host probably should have like piped down a little bit, but
Oh, 100%. Oh
like
man.
that dude was just brutal.
No, so like
Talk about retro.
the thing about that guy though, Hub, is he had a couple compelling arguments to where Sean did openly like deflect on it. And Matt, I need you to mute your background.
I'm
That
sorry,
shit
that's
is
just
loud.
my car. That's my car starting. My bad.
No, you're good.
Damn.
But like, he did ask a couple questions, and Sean did deflect a bit. And before we go into this, let me quickly introduce the point of this space, everyone. We're going in on the Ricochet drama that's been going on the past 48 hours, and slightly more of the drama of my client slash best friend, Sean Ross Sapp, because he got it in the middle of the stink today. And not even today, but since last night. And like, I don't know where to start with this. Where do you want to start with this, Hub?
Well, it started what Monday afternoonish. Ricochet told a fan that was randomly commenting on an EW post that said Ricochet's acting skills still haven't improved. And this
Yeah.
man turned around and said, "I'm glad you got MS." Yikes.
And like, and I've already been seeing the things and certain dirt sheet and media members come out of nowhere and sit here and defend Ricochet. Well, Ricochet's been abused and harassed so much, he just reacted the way he reacted. And if he wasn't, submitted to the treatment of the IWC, he would have never had to feel like he had to react like that. First off, if you can't take it, don't dish it, motherfucker. If you can't handle people being online and being fucking weirdos online and shit, don't be online. Like that's my thing with Ricochet. Like he sits there and claims this is a gimmick. It's him playing his heel character shtick, and it shows that he's not Teflon. It shows that this shit gets to him, and I don't think it is a character. It's just he can't handle it when he dishes it. And let me sit here and also add at the top, anybody who's sending him or his wife death threats are worse than what Ricochet did. And I'm not condoning any of it. And anyone who's done it or gets caught doing that shit, just know DJ thinks you're a fucking bottom dweller. But let's not sit here and try to paint Ricochet as some sort of victim or absolve him of any blame because he decided to apologize after literally everyone started shitting on him.
Oh, we'll get to the apology later. That was
Yeah,
so
we'll get to
hollow.
that later because there's been some reports about that and some things that I kind of want to go against. Go ahead, Corey. I see your hands up.
Can we just have wrestlers stop arguing with people on Twitter with 25 followers and saying, "Oh, this is our gimmick"? It's the stupidest damn thing.
Not even just like I said to the initial point I made. Don't dish it if you can't take it.
Well, and this is like me. If I withdraw a lot of money, I got to stand in the bad part of town. I get mobbed, right? Like I have some capability in that. If you go online and you're trying to be a troll wrestler, you're pissing off like the wrestling fan. Let's be honest, the IWC isn't known for their mental stability. You're probably going to get some threats at that point, right?
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, people are
if I'm in the
threatening
middle
me.
of the gay parade yelling, gay slurs, calling people faggots and all types of, anti-gay slurs, I should have every right to get my ass kicked in the middle of the fucking place.
I mean, he's what, 40? Like, he knew clearly, like, you don't say that to somebody. That's just, I don't, it sucks someone his wife had threats. I totally agree. But that doesn't give him a pass just to go online and say whatever the hell he wants.
You know what I mean? There's a difference from us making fun of him for being bald. Because, yes, he can't control being bald. But like that's like
Should.
the least thing you should worry about of someone making fun of you. You have no hair, motherfucker. Well, I got hair on my face.
Well, he's a public figure, so you've already set up for ridicule if you're a public figure, right? But then you go on Twitter and you're arguing with these people. Of course, people are going to hit back at you. Like, why is that shocking? What did he expect for him to make him brownies or something?
Yeah, and like I said, the reason I want to talk about this is because I'm somewhat involved to a small extent because I'm Sean's defense attorney. You feel me? I take cases for Sean. But this one, this was a time where I had to sit here and be like, nah, I think something's wrong. Because it wasn't just Fightful. Let's just also add that to the top because a lot of people are just
and people are using it as a dunk on Sean. I understand there's bias.
Yes,
I totally get
saying.
that. But people are using this as an excuse to dunk on him.
Yes, and that's what I wanted to add is that people are mainly going after Sean, using it as an excuse to try to just bitch at him and go at him and blah blah blah. I'm not saying what he, Fightful wasn't in the wrong.
I'm not saying they're not biased. I do believe that they're biased, but people are using this as a gotcha.
Listen, oh no, and I'm usually one of the first people. Am I not, Corey, one of the first people, and anyone else in here in the group chat can probably attest to this, that I'm one of the first people to not only defend Sean and say, yes, he may have his different takes, but he does try to be as objective as possible.
But I'm pretty sure Sean would say to himself that he didn't condone Ricochet saying that. I'm pretty sure, like, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't condone that.
No, yeah, and not even that. All the proceeds and super chats from his stream today was donated to a MS charity.
See,
so I just also want to state that. But hold on 1 second, Corey, just because I got to get a couple points out real quick. Like, Sean apparently was off yesterday, according to him. This is his own verbiage based on what he's saying, and there is some small proof to back it up. But that doesn't make an excuse for the 8 other reporters under your guys' fucking watch that didn't say a goddamn thing either. And if Sean's excuse is, well, Jimmy didn't want to run with it because if we talked about every stupid thing that's tweeted, we wouldn't be talking about it. Last time I checked, you guys just tweeted, you guys were fucking just making a story out of some NXT bitch tweeting a dream and trying to turn that into a story. So in terms of recency bias and you just running stories off of what people tweet, it's funny how you guys kind of, miss the fucking mark when it's an AEW star. And Zeus, I'll give you the floor right now just because Aaron walked in the room and he needs me for a second.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yeah, so a couple of things on this. First of all, with the media side of things, I think you guys are right. It's the first thing I thought was, if Sean said he was off, then yeah, there's no reason that the rest of his team couldn't cover it or no one else in the space covered it. I don't think that's a coincidence. And yeah, I've seen plenty of examples where some of the posts you see from Fightful are just so non-stories about people, like they're desperate for news. So I don't really buy the fact that it wasn't worth running with. And I think this thing with Ricochet was bound to happen eventually because he's been trying so hard to get this social media heel gimmick over and it's never worked because he's just not very good at it. He's not that guy. And I think it was always bound to happen where he was just going to push the envelope a bit too hard and say something, grossly offensive directly to somebody who is the target of what he's saying. And I can't help but think that if he had targeted somebody's race or sexuality, then this would end a lot worse for him. And I guess that doesn't really apply to disability in today's society. Maybe it should, I don't know. But I think this is always bound to happen. And I'm kind of glad it has happened because people say, oh, people are wishing death on Ricochet. I just wish silence on the guy. I just wish he'd shut up. And hopefully now he does.
No, and Zeus, for the most part, I agree with everything you're saying. And like I said, anyone who knows me knows I try to come to the defense not only of Sean Ross Sapp, but of Fightful. You know what I mean? If there's any credible, quote unquote, dirt sheet media or any outlet that's covering wrestling media and wrestling news, Fightful is the most accurate. They are the most credible, and they're good. They're not going to just post bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of people are attacking Sean of this because it's just an excuse for them to go after Sean.
Well, I know why. Because Sean has, I respect Sean, what he does. I think his work is very good. but you can't deny that he has garnered himself a reputation for being very combative, rude, and impatient with people. And there's been countless situations where he's just got himself involved with something, and it's gone on for ages, and we see it every day. And over time, people, whether it rightly or wrongly, don't tend to gravitate to that kind of thing. And over time, that just builds up a general dislike of the guy. So yeah, they're going to take any opportunity they can. I don't personally hold it against him, but I think that's what a lot of people do.
But yeah, back to my initial point before I went in side tangent too long. But like, I think it was odd, the silence of all wrestling media, or most of them. There were a couple places who are just desperate for clicks and content who went with the story. But in terms of the observers, the wrestle purists, the self-mades, the fightfuls, they were all oddly quiet until that apology came out.
Yeah.
You feel me? There was no story being ran about it. There was no instant coverage. If this was fucking Logan Paul, it would be ran immediately, day of, no questions, if, ands, or buts. Or if we're saying Ricochet's not at the star level of Logan Paul, okay, if Chad Gable wrote this shit, it would be fucking front page news stories. And that's where I'm sitting here, and I can't defend Sean, and him coming up with the excuse of, oh well, Jimmy just didn't want to run it because we can't run everything people just tweet. I call bullshit, and I call that's a matter of fucking convenience. It's convenient that Jimmy Van, whatever his name is at Fightful, decided that Ricochet, after AEW's hottest pay-per-view, and they're getting the most buzz they've gotten in fucking years, that they decided to, put a pause on running a story that would be negative and negatively affecting to AEW until Ricochet put out the apology. That's is my issue with the whole subject.
That's what it is, yeah, because this isn't just a random wrestler tweet. This is kind of big news, and you see how he was trending. Like, this is not a small thing. And obviously what he said was heinous, and that it's not a coincidence that the usual suspects didn't run with this story all at once. I agree.
And so let me and Hub, anything you want to add to this before I continue to go on?
I mean, so far, with Sean, I kind of chalk it up to it was just poor timing on his part. Because I'm gonna keep him at his word that he was off and he wasn't on the Raw after show he usually does, or the Dynamite after show he usually. Not Dynamite, the AEW pay-per-view post show. So he was off. Was he following the news and stuff? I don't know, but it was. I just think he's a victim of poor timing on this one. I don't think it was like, oh, he purposely kept it out. I think it's more of a statement on what I've been saying for like the last few weeks on my own page. The wrestling media needs a legit blow up and rebuild, because you got people from Fightful that are clear AEW bias. If you didn't believe that before this, then you have the clear example of a Fightful reporter. I think it was Kate from Fightful throwing Chris Jericho lob the day that the Kylie Ray shit started to come out. You had not Jericho, Tony Khan, a lob after he was getting pressed by the media. That you have their reaction to when Brock Lesnar came back, that there was a legit bias. You have just a plethora of examples when it comes to Fightful outside of Sean, which I don't think Sean's the main issue of Fightful. I think because of what everyone else there does, he's the one that takes the shit because he is the face of that entire operation. Just like if anything stupid happens with the Wrestling Observer, granted it's mostly Dave doing the stupid shit, but people will look at Dave Meltzer and be like, okay, stupid, that's on you. Or if anything happened with PW Insider, that's on Mike Johnson, etc., etc. But I think really the last few days for the wrestling media, the Ricochet shit's just a cherry on top. You had the Ibu, where the fuck his name is, false reporting of Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman openly communicating to WWE that he will not job at all, just for him to walk it back and say he never said it, just for video proof of you actually said it. And then you got wherever the fuck Dave Meltzer does.
Yeah, I was going to bring up that
week
too.
So it's just the wrestling media as a whole, if you want to be taken seriously, you got to report everything and you got to be somewhat accurate. We have a lot of pretenders and jokers in the wrestling media right now where you cannot take them serious at all. And I think the only two you can kind of take serious is Mike Johnson, the PW Insider, and Sean. And that's it. Everyone else could get the fuck out.
Zeus, I'll come to you in a second because, like, I agree with most of your points there, Hub. And again, the reason why I usually always come to the defense of Sean, because Sean is a credible motherfucker and I do know him. But, like, this is one of the occasions where I can't, you feel me? I don't agree with him at all on this. Like, I do find it kind of convenient. Like, one of the points the Minty guy brought up, and this was one of the good points I said he brought up, was the fact that Sean reposted the apology before he made any statement whatsoever. That's where I agree with him. Sean may not like that. I agree with him on that. That, yeah, I do feel like you need to put out your opinion first before you start reposting his apology and doing damage control for Tony. Because that's what it comes off as. You don't want that perception? Don't do that shit. Or deal with the fact that you did that in that order and you're going to have that perception. Like, that's my whole thing. And, like, it don't sit here and be at people for thinking that you're biased when you're doing stuff to give that perception. Because again, if this was the WWE side of the fence and they did it, you'd be on them for issuing an immediate apology. You'd be publicly stating he should have stated an apology. Again, you were off yesterday, so I'm not going to hold that against you. And I respect you for that. Like, I just don't agree with how this was handled by the rest of Fightful. If Jimmy Van was the one who made the decision on Sean's behalf and didn't want to bug Sean, then it's his fucking fault. And he should be also catching the smoke and heat for it. But I also want to respond to something Ben Hogan said in the comments. He said, Sean behavior towards some fans can't be excused. His challenging people to fights is immature and unprofessional. Until those who support him and refuse to address him directly about his behavior are endorsing his behavior. As one of the people who's known Sean and has tried to tell him this shit, and I actually, Scully's here and Scully's here. So he can tell you in the comments as well that I even brought this shit up when he was on my show. Like, you can't be going after everybody. You have a certain image, and if you like it or not, you have to be above certain things because you're at that level of popularity. Yes, you have to be above that things. If Jeff Bezos was out here just calling everyone fucking morons and everything else, I bet you he wouldn't be one of the richest men on the planet. So, like, as someone who, and also as someone who's also threatened to beat up a bunch of people on Twitter for running their fucking mouths, I think you underestimate, Ben, how many people really do be coming at Sean every single day, non-fucking stop. It's the same fucking people all the time. So, like, if I had 300K followers and about 50K of them a week are at me saying some crazy foul mouth shit and trying to knock me and knock my business and knock my hustle, I'd be just as fucking tight and agitated too and be quick to attack everyone. So I wouldn't sit here and just be at Sean because he goes after, because he just don't take bullshit. That's where I'm on Sean's side all the time, because I follow Sean. I see this shit. And I do exactly what Sean tells people to do. All these people he's saying he wants to meet up with and he's going at hard, go to their page, type in SRS or Sean Ross Sapp, see what the fuck you find. It's quite compelling. It's weird how right Sean is partial of the fucking time. But I do also think, in my opinion, and Sean, if you hear this, you have every time, you got my DM, you can correct me on this and I will publicly fix my opinion. But I definitely think him starting to attack people after he reposted that apology was definitely a strategy. Look at the pretty monkey. Worry about me crashing out more than, us getting the Ricochet shit wrong. I'd rather eat that bullet than eat the other one. And that, maybe that's just me.
Just a couple of things that have transpired in the last few minutes. First of all, Sean has reported that nobody told Ricochet to apologize.
He reported that on the hump as well.
Yeah. And also, I don't like this kind of side narrative where it's like, you're not allowed to be angry unless you donate to an MS charity. I don't like this thing that he's going with. People are allowed to be angry. People get angry about shit every single day. And you don't have to financially, there's no kind of paywall to allow to be angry about something. So I don't really like this narrative either. But going back to what Main Event said about the wrestling media in general, I totally agree. Body slam, self-made, like it's absolute clowns, and this whole wrestling media is a circus. And I agree that Fightful and PW Insider are probably the only two, in terms of accurate news, that we probably have. But this is the kind of thing that they should be covering, not posting spoilers for wrestling shows we're about to watch in 30 minutes all the time. You know what I mean? I just think it's an absolute joke. And I'm hoping that, people start to kind of turn on the wrestling media because of this. And, like, some of them say, like, oh, don't you want us to feed our families? It's like, no, get a real job. I'm sorry. With all due respect, I don't really care if you pay people like Kate or Righteous Reg just to be really aggressive and angry with people just because they get to do a podcast and say what they think about wrestling. Like, I don't really think that warrants, oh, you have to feed their family. I think that's bullshit.
See, that's the thing with Fightful too, that gets a lot of people fucked up and a lot of people at Sean the way they are, because a lot of them are just content creators. They're not like hardcore journalists like Sean or like Mike Johnson of PW Insider, or even Dave to his credit. You know what I mean? It's a hard thing to admit, but Dave is somewhat, he was the OG journalist. His credibility is fucking shot now because he's let his bias take over. But up until about 2012, 2015, Dave was literally the most credible sport wrestling writer of all time.
I agree. Yeah.
So like those three guys have well-established credentials and have enough cachet and enough on their resume of getting shit right and having the right connects and contacts. Dave has Tony, Sean has Tony, Mike Johnson has everyone else around because everyone loves Mike Johnson. So like, I just think in terms of the wrestling media, I think we need to stop just letting people who are just in media because they want to be bigger fans of wrestling. You know what I mean? They think a lot of these like media guys like Ibu, you know what I mean? He wanted to get into the dirt sheet business and all that because he thought it was going to give him more access as a fan. He wanted to be the super fan with access. And that's why he got outed the way he got outed, because he was too happy, too high. He was getting what he wants. You feel me? He was talking to wrestlers behind the scenes. He was going to shows. He knew Tony Khan. Like, he was too high off his britches, and then he started fucking pillow talking, and that's not what you're supposed to do as a journalist. You're supposed to keep your sources and stories that you can't confirm and you only heard out of, the side of someone's mouth out in the public. You can't be doing that.
No.
And he did the same thing with the Paul Heyman Brock Lesnar thing. He didn't hear anything from a fucking source and confirm it. He just heard something from someone and said it. No confirming, no making sure this is a true thing, not just someone talking out their ass, unless you're hearing it straight from the source. And I don't know if I disagree with Sean, because he, like I said, he has more insight than me on this, but from what I know, I definitely believe someone told Ricochet to apologize. If it was his wife, that could be, you know what I mean? I know someone told him to do it.
Well, Ricochet was reposting things in support of him like an hour before he apologized.
But I can believe Sean if he said Tony didn't say to take it down.
Someone did, yeah.
But someone told him to. And if I can believe the Samantha thing, because she was getting shit too for no reason, for just being married to the dumb motherfucker.
Yeah.
So like, damn, we're getting comment crazy right now. John said he needs to know what comes with the territory. He does know that it comes with the territory. He just needs a little more impulse control for Sean. I disagree. As someone who regularly claps back at motherfuckers who say dumb shit at me, and I want to punch people in the face half the fucking time anyway, I can name at least 5 people since I've gotten on Twitter I've threatened to punch in the fucking face, Sean being one of them. So, I don't know. In terms of impulse control, I'm not one to talk.
I also think with this wrestling media thing, it's almost like because they work for Fightful, they think their opinion on wrestling holds more weight than other people, and that's just not true. It really isn't. Just because of where you work, that doesn't mean that you know your opinion matters more than mine or yours. It's not how it works, and that's how it comes across when you look at like Corey Brennan from Fightful. He's one of them. He pisses me off. Like the way they talk, John Alba, like the way they just talk down to you all the time on social media. It really pisses me off.
It's because they fit my example though. Those are the guys who didn't get into media because they love journalism that much. They got into wrestling media because they want to be the super fan. It's the fan in them that wants to do. They want to hear every dirty little secret from their favorite wrestlers, and they want to be friends with these wrestlers. They don't want, like, if people took the same approach as me and just try to stick to the point of their job is to entertain us. They're the entertainer. I'm the entertained. Okay, it's my job to tell them if they're doing it right, what I feel they can do better, and that's it. You know what I mean? I can't tell them how to do each specific move, but I can tell them what's working and what's not.
Yeah, from a fan perspective, because that's what matters.
Exactly. Their job is to please me and make sure I come back and spend more money to see them again. That is literally their job. And I feel like there's too many fans that get too invested in having these relationship with these guys and be involved in the business in some way. That's what it is. They want to be involved in the business without actually having to be in the business.
Well, I think it's because wrestling is one of those weird things where it's way more accessible to people like that than other sports. Like, they're not going to get close to their favorite NFL player. It's never going to happen. But wrestling seems to be one of those things where there is a back door for pretty much anyone to get involved. And pretty much anyone does get involved. And we're seeing the results of that with some of the fucking shit we see on social media from these so-called journalists. And honestly, anyone could do it. Probably. If you put enough effort in, anybody could be a part of this. And it's really frightening to think of that, considering the people you see on social media.
I'm mad Nick came in and plugged their show and dipped. The fuck type shit is that? He's lucky.
Big Nick. He did that again?
Yeah.
He's been doing that ever since I joined social media.
Dude, it's...
I think John kicked him from our group chat for doing that.
I'm not gonna say anything.
I will.
I love you, Nick.
Go on, Nick.
But yeah, like I think I don't know, because like I said it in the beginning, don't dish what you can't take. That's what it really comes down to. That's the theme of this shit for Ricochet and for Sean too.
Well, let me ask you, DJ, if Ricochet had said something about somebody's sexuality, how different do you think this would have gone?
He'd be fired. Fired. Half the people in that company would want him fucking gone immediately. And if it's enough people that Tony likes and enough people are on that discipline commitment committee, Ricochet's the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
You'd have to fire him based off past precedent. You had Jay Briscoe, who had a tweet held over him for a decade plus. You had Trey Miguel, who just recently let go. I don't think Ricochet should be fired over this. I don't. But I do think he should be suspended and forced to go through the same thing that they made Sammy Guevara go through. I forget who else. There's someone else to go through the sensitivity program and this, that, and the other. And their salary, whatever, for X amount of weeks or months, whatever, goes to
I think it was
MLS.
Juice Robinson after the quarter thing.
Not MLS. MLS is a fucking soccer group. MS.
Hold on 1 second. Tom, take over for a second. My son said something about opening the door.
So I want everyone's opinion here. So there's the Ryan Alvarez report from yesterday. That should have, fingers crossed, Ricochet should be hoping he still has a job next week. Should Ricochet's job be in jeopardy? And pretty much, would you, if you were Tony Khan, let go of Ricochet over this?
I wouldn't know.
No, I wouldn't either. I don't think he should be fired for it, but I definitely think Tony should add a fucking addendum to his contract. No more social media. Get the fuck off. Do what Samantha did. Just deactivate. Don't go on social media. It's not helping you whatsoever. It's not helping you get paid. It's not helping you generate more interest. It's just getting more people to dislike you as a human being. And to sit here and throw I'm playing a character deal, we call bullshit.
You're not playing a character because you insulting somebody with MS forwards nothing on television. So, like, it's a ridiculous argument to make when people say that.
Not even that. He's literally, since he's been released, the second he was not under WWE contract, he started doing this shit.
Yeah, and I wonder why. Because WWE know what they're doing with this kind of thing. Like, they know that social media can have dire consequences, and that's why they're all tight-lipped when they're under WWE contract under very specific circumstances. Like Drew McIntyre is a good example, who's someone who's allowed to utilize it very well within the confines of what they allow. But it felt like Ricochet's been bottling this up for years, and then he just couldn't wait to just be an asshole on social media.
I can't wait to tell all these fans who didn't appreciate me how I feel and how I really think I'm the greatest. Again, this is half the shit he says on Twitter definitely is what WWE was seeing. Why am I not being pushed better? Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he definitely does seem like the type to think his shit doesn't stink.
Yeah.
And that's just from the optics.
He seems like a horrible dude. He just seems like a genuinely unpleasant person. That's how he comes across.
Oh my God. Hold on. I just saw a tweet from someone from Fightful. I'm going to share it in here. This is brutal.
Oh, boy.
Where the fuck is it?
While you're doing that, I'm going to read some more comments because I'm getting a lot of them today. Most of them from Scully. Scully said, I'm going to be that guy. What do you do? What do you lose if Ricochet is punished? What do you lose if Ricochet isn't punished? You lose nothing if he's punished because it's not like people just don't come off of AEW TV anyway. And they just brought back the three of their biggest stars. Four of their biggest stars. So, like, losing a Ricochet and having those four back, I'll take it. Addition by subtraction. Something about Dave was never credible. Nah, he was 80. So from the late 80s to the early 2000s, Dave was extremely credible. There were motherfuckers out here trying to kill Dave's credibility. He was
Dave's
talking.
just funny, man. He's just funny now. I just laugh at him.
It's just,
I respect
like
what
I
he's done.
said,
He's just
the
funny.
thing, what fucked up Dave's credibility is a lot of his sources aged out. To where if literally his only remaining source in the business that's obvious and everyone knows is Jericho. Like, everyone else is either retired, dead, or just don't talk to Dave no more because he lost his fucking mind. So, like,
he definitely lost his mind when he reported that Shibata had his brain taken out and put back in. I think that was a
different tweet, but it seems interesting to share.
That was a low from Meltzer.
Hub, go ahead. I gotta help Aaron with something on Mario Kart real quick.
Okay. I am looking for the damn tweet, but I found another one that's interesting, so I'll share that one in here first too. Because there seems to be two separate reactions here, and a lot of people are turning it into a AEW versus WWE thing.
Of course.
And this is one example of one.
That's all they ever did. But I wanted to say something about this whole Ricochet situation. Had he been in WWE and did this, we would not be talking about him being employed with that company. We'd be talking about him in the past tense.
Yeah.
We know
was
that.
fired.
Well, believe me when I say this. People in WWE have been fired for a lot less than that kind of thing. And you're going to go on social media and be a dick towards somebody, they're going to take exception to that. Because you go ask Quincy Elliott about that shit. He'll tell you.
Yeah.
They bounced him on his ass without even fucking blinking.
Good. The guy was an asshole.
That's what I heard from people anyway.
And if you do it in WWE, then you are potentially, aside from everything else, you're costing them a lot of money with the amount of sponsorships involved. That's the kind of thing that's going to turn off big sponsors.
And you think that's kind of a thing with AEW here, because they don't really have a lot of big sponsors in general. So they don't have any pressures from sponsors. They're like, all their sponsors are Warner Brothers owned stuff. DC Comics was one. That stupid video game that had the Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy match. I'm pretty sure that was under the something close to Warner Brothers right there. You had the when they did the Last of Us stuff.
Yeah.
That's Warner Brothers. So a lot of the like
Well-
major partnerships and stuff is under the Warner Brothers umbrella, who guess what owns about 3% of the company.
Yeah, that's probably the only people that AEW is to answer to is Warner Brothers. Whereas WWE, you've got investors coming out of their ears who could pull the plug on shit like this.
Yo, John, you there? I saw you were trying to unmute and talk.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, but I do think Ricochet's probably going to be suspended. Like I could see them saying something tonight, trying to write him off in some way, but I do think he'll be suspended at least. He won't be fired, and I think it'd be crazy for him to be fired. But yeah, the suspension's coming, I believe.
Hold on, I'm just gonna mute the space for a second. So Herm muted himself. So I think you have to suspend him. If you don't, that is a terrible look. That the one time you're not going to discipline someone for something real obvious for conduct, it's because he is a former WWE star with some cachet to his name. That's a terrible look. And I know people are going to bring up CM Punk and stuff. Well, that one you really had no choice. He was fighting motherfuckers. But like this one, I put under the same thing as Sammy Guevara on a random podcast like 5 years before he was in AEW, saying he wanted to rape Sasha Banks, or whoever the hell the other Max Caster with his rap, where he had to go to sensitivity.
Yeah, with the Vince
training.
McMahon rap. I remember that. That's what it was.
It's just a terrible precedent if you don't suspend him.
Yeah, and plus, no offense, you just took the title off him, so obviously there's no terrible situation all around, but it could have been better timing for AEW on that point because you already took the title off him. I don't think you really need him during this right now. Bring him back after Double or Nothing or some shit. And just let Jack Perry do his own shit. He's not tied to any storyline really right now, so you don't have to like wrap up that loose end.
Do you think this kind of puts the brakes on him ever getting a big push in AEW, this kind of stuff?
No, hell no.
I think he'll get another title again. I don't think you will see him be a world champion in AEW.
No,
I think
I never thought that
this killed it. I think there was a chance. Even AEW or even Ring of Honor as world champion. I think this killed that because you can't. It's the same thing with Sammy Guevara. You can't really trust him. And Sammy Guevara, for the most part, has done a good job trying to repair his image and shit over the last few years. But you can just tell they don't really trust him, which is why he's the only one of the pillars that is not on Dynamite at all. Hasn't really been, I think, in almost a year consistently. He's had a few off matches here and there, but other than that, he's been Ring of Honor purgatory.
And this stuff stays around forever as well. Like, Sammy Guevara's podcast is always there. Ricochet's tweet is always going to be there. It's never going away.
I think this will go away sooner because it's just a tweet. I could be wrong. Like I said, unless they're going to take the full-on Jay Briscoe approach from the WBD side and say, nah, that motherfucker needs to get off television now. He's getting too much heat. Like, I don't think this is going to affect him that bad in the long run. I think this is more of a short-term issue and problem than a long-term one. There will be something else that someone will get pissed off of that someone from AEW either did or said in the meantime. But I really do also think the timing of this was really bad because of the good PR AEW was getting. You know what I mean? Revolution was a huge success. Despite what anyone else thinks and wants to rag on AEW. It was a success.
Mm-hmm.
And almost any wrestling metric we can measure it by. So and it's been the best PR AEW has gotten in years. Like, they sold out an arena. They had a good-ish show for the most part till the main event. People were entertained. They were happy. There were just nothing but good reviews about the show. And then Ricochet does this to show everyone, nope, AEW hasn't changed. It's the same old, same old. The inmates are running the asylum and they're fucking running rampant. And
I don't even think AEW's really gotten flack for this at all. I think it's mainly been Ricochet for obvious reasons, and the wrestling media for not even talking about it until today.
no, but that's why AEW, exactly why AEW didn't get the bad PR though, and why it's not. I don't think. I don't want to say it's not affecting AEW because there are people who are giving AEW flack for this. Like, why didn't they say anything immediately? Why didn't Tony come out and say what Ricochet did was wrong and he's immediately suspended? Instead of, I'm gonna look into this. Like, again, if you don't, if she said, and it's not even like she said anything that inflammatory. She said his acting wasn't better, which is her opinion.
No, it ain't. She's not wrong, but like, but another
No, she
thing
is not wrong at all.
Yeah, with another thing, Warner Bros. Discovery, this is where inconsistency comes through. You're not going to see Ricochet get fired. Hell, you may not. He'll probably get suspended for God knows for how long, but he's not going to get fired because he is somewhat of a name. Which is the same reason why they allow Ronda Rousey in AEW for all her shit she has tweeted
Not
and
Trey
talked
Miguel.
about even since. Trey Miguel doesn't have a name or cachet, so it's easy to just let go of him. But we let Ronda Rousey in, and Ronda Rousey's posting goddamn Sandy Hook's hoax.
She didn't apologize for 10 years.
I agree.
She didn't apologize for like what, last year, her little book tour?
Yeah.
And no, and like I said, in terms of the media argument, like, you can tell now there are certain people who have a certain investment for AEW being an alternative and will do anything to help keep it and push that narrative. And there are a lot of people in the media as well who just dislike WWE and the idea of WWE ever monopoly in the wrestling business. You know what I mean? So it's like, when you got those two subsets of wrestling fan and people who gain up a small cultivation to have that type of following because they've been taught and told they need to have this mindset. It's like, when you see shit like this, and like I said, I am someone who avidly defends Sean, Fightful, and some wrestling media for just doing their jobs. It's a hustle. Don't be mad because people out here found a hustle that they can do. They can get some of these dumb marks to pay them to tell them shit about the wrestlers because they know and talk to the wrestlers. That's a hustle at the end of the day. I'm, as someone who's created his own business and started my own shit from scratch, I can't knock them for it. But like, this time I cannot sit here and defend Sean, and I'm going to sit here and publicly say I disagree with him. And if Sean has a problem with anything, we can talk deeper about this and I'll fix my opinion if we can talk deeper about this. But I watched the hump today. Also, DJ got a shout out on the hump today. Look at me. So I feel good about that. But like, I disagree, not with Sean, because again, Sean had a valid reason. He has a valid excuse. But I am coming after the rest of Fightful, Jimmy Van, especially if he's the one out here who made the decision not to run the story. Because it's, again, the timing is just fucking odd. And it's not just Fightful. Meltzer and The Observer didn't run anything until the day after, until the apology. I didn't see anything from Ringside News or Wrestle Purists. I named all the dirt sheet medias I could off rip. But like, at the same time, in a concerted effort, you know what I mean? None of y'all said anything. And at least Wrestle Purists and The Observer are AEW friendly fucking journalists. Anyone with two eyes, ears, and a mouth and likes water can fucking tell you that. But Fightful kind of surprised me for the simple fact that I don't think they try to show their bias as much as the other ones, even though this kind of exposed it a little more. Ergo why I'm calling it out as it is. But just the concerted effort as a whole, Sean retweeting the apology before stating his opinion first, knowing how often he gives to charities and stuff, I feel like was a bad move. That's the one point Minty brought up that I agreed with. I don't care how you feel, Sean. That's where I agree with him on. You definitely should have said something publicly for Fightful or had one of them say something on it before you retweeted that apology. I'm sorry. It's over for that. There's not, if you want to use the word timeliness or whatever, or yes, I expect you to be smarter than that wholeheartedly. Don't retweet an apology for someone first and then be like, oh yeah, what he did was wrong though. And sound like it's something forgiving just because he apologized. Nah, he need to rework his fucking behavior. That's what he needs to do. That's what you need to be telling people. You're the one with the access to these wrestlers. And I understand from the point of if you don't want to lose certain access because you say certain things and hold people accountable, but that's what happens when you want to be an honest human being. Because Ricochet definitely needs more than a fucking slap. Oh, my bad, Zeus. I didn't mean to step on you. But
no, sorry. I was just going to say that's a big part of it, what you said, the access.
Yeah, and like Ricochet definitely needs more than a fucking slap on the wrist from the media. Y'all definitely need to be hounding this motherfucker saying, no, you should get off social media. If you can't fucking dish it, I mean, if you can't take it, don't dish it. And let's not sit here and paint Ricochet as this fucking victim of harassment when he's definitely a big perpetrator of it. Just there were times when he fucking, before he even signed with AEW, where he would go after people for just not even tagging him or anything, but reposting a video and saying something. Like, he was looking that shit out. And I remember when Scully called Sean out on that shit. So you're like, you know what I mean? I do think Sean sometimes types SRS to see who the fuck's running his mouth about him. But I would too. If I was this famous as Sean, I would look out some shit to see which motherfuckers was out here saying some sly shit. But that, like I said, that's just me. Ergo why I give Sean a slight pass on some of his action, how he handles people who be running their fucking mouth about him. Because again, I've threatened to punch multiple people in the fucking face over running their mouth about me. Keep my name out your fucking mouth and you won't have to worry about my fist going through it. That simple. But in terms of trying to be, if you're trying to keep, how did Sean phrase it in the hump? Did he say non-biased journalism? Is that how him and Greg said it? Or objective journalism?
So
you can't be out here just, you got to watch how you do things. You got to show some objectivity, because at least there's a few examples within the past couple of weeks of Sean not being objective. Him trying to sit here and say Ibu didn't lie and it wasn't on camera. The whole, does anyone know that NXT girl who had her dream tweet fucking aggregated?
Yeah, the Olympian girl.
My Steele. I forget.
Maya Steele, thank you. And y'all ran with that. You know what I mean? These are examples I can at least give, because Sean was sitting here saying no one has evidence or examples. I'm someone who follows you, watches your shit, and watches your tweets. So you can't say I don't know nothing.
I can't believe they ran with that story. I can't believe they ran with that dream story. That was one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
I'm not surprised, because at first it really, if just hindsight looking at it, I fell for it too until I really looked at it. And I was like, wait a minute, there ain't no fucking metal that happened over the weekend. What the fuck? And then she said she was called up for Raw. And I was like, no, the fuck you weren't. I was like, what is this? So I'm one of the people that actually fell for it. I thought it was legit. And then
no. But that's what I'm saying though. They ran that whole story off of just a tweet. And then Jimmy, again, this is what Sean said on the hump. Jimmy Van says, we're not going to run a story every time someone tweets about something.
And but I think that's on Jimmy more than Sean.
A whole story for Fightful when a WWE NXT talent tweeted something.
I think it's more on Jimmy than Sean there, especially if Jimmy's a part owner. If Sean's clearly gone, you're in charge, you call the shots, and you're sitting there saying, nah. Wrestler telling a fan, hey, I'm happy you got MS. Hey, that ain't a story. That's insane. Imagine, let's put it this way. Pro wrestling media wants to be on the same level as actual sports media. Imagine if, let me use an example here. Bam Adebayo went up to a kid with cancer and said, I'm glad you got cancer. And ESPN's like, nah, we ain't running that story. Guess what? That reporter and the person overseeing him, guess what happened to him? You're fired. You're gone. Your career's done. You're not credible at all. That's what happened. So this is just another pure example of why people will not take pro wrestling media seriously. And for the most part, you really can't, with the exception of two people, and that's Sean and Mike Johnson. Because it's not the Observer anymore. I mean, Dave's a great wrestling historian, but he's one terrible ass reporter and has been for at least the last 4 to 5 years. It's gotten worse. The self-made guys, I tried to give them the benefit of doubt, and then the whole thing that happened this past week with lying about Brock wanting the job and shit, not wanting the job, that killed them. I'm sure I'm forgetting. Sports Illustrated has been shit for years. That hasn't been relevant since I was like 6. Which, once again, that one. So when we get to the end of the year now, and people are questioning the legitimacy of your end of the year awards, Sports Illustrated, people are going to come back to this and wonder, why didn't you report on this? But you're one of the people that were hounding Triple H at when WWE did pressers about Vince McMahon updates when they really had nothing to give. And that's not really comparing the two, but like the same people that would go to these WWE pressers and would just hound Triple H over Vince McMahon questions where there's really been no significant update. And even if there was, he's not allowed to legally share it. So it's very one-sided when it comes to when we want to be real journalists in professional wrestling.
This had happened before Revolution. Do you think that any one of these journalists would have asked Tony about it at the scrum?
Oh, 100% they would have.
Oh, they would. They brought up the Jericho Kylie Ray thing. Some of them would have.
It's just whoever asked the question would never be allowed at a media scrum again.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you fucking that.
You have the Waffle House questions.
And that's the reason why I think a lot of the media, quote unquote, shut the fuck up yesterday and didn't say anything until Tony gave a to fucking say something, or you know what I mean, until they had an idea of what would be the best thing to fucking Tony. You know what I mean? Because if they say the wrong thing, they're out of Tony's good graces. I've seen Nick Hausman at a fucking
Jericho and Kylie Ray, wasn't he?
Ray, he Punk.
Yeah.
The last time you heard something from Brandon Thurston.
Jesus, I haven't seen that dude in a hot minute.
You want to know why? Thurston was out putting the AEW quarter hours out all the fucking time.
Yeah, because the ratings.
He's an analyst. He's an analyst. Yeah.
He tried to be a reporter. Didn't work.
The numbers don't lie.
But yeah, but again, I'm not trying to hold Sean's feet to the coals. It's not his blame, even though it's a part of his company. He was quote unquote off that day and only posted a story about Hobbs because apparently Hobbs called him himself and told them the story or confirmed shit about the story. So sit here and use this as an excuse to try to bury Sean or put Sean. Anyone who's an excuse to attack Sean like the guy or the whatever the fuck other baller I saw. Guys are doing it for, especially that. He brought up some good points, but also sounded like a fucking idiot. And Sean picked you on purpose because he knew you were. And you definitely look. So, like I said, there were a couple points Minty said I agreed with. I stated them. Ricochet should definitely be suspended going into the future. But people should, and I'm also going to state this. Death on Samantha Irvin, or even wishing death ain't bad shit if you're going that. And you want to sit here and try to play the morality card like you're so much of a better person because you're wishing death on said some dumb shit. Get the fuck out of here. So your response is to say some dumb shit. not even some dumb shit, some dumber shit. Like, just leave them alone. They're fucking people, especially Samantha. She ain't got nothing to fucking do with it. She married the piece of shit. So it's obvious that giving.
Yeah, like seriously, like Samantha Irvin's biggest crime is just being cringe on Twitter. Like fucking harmless. She has nothing to do with her husband acting like a fucking idiot.
I'm gonna throw it out to the floor real quick. Anyone else got anything to add? Just throw your hand up real quick, and I'll go straight to you. Just because I don't want everyone all talking at once by accident. Or if anyone in the listeners want to speak and say a quick thing, you're more than welcome to. Do you want to say hi, Aaron? Hi. Oh, he gave y'all the quick hi. I think Hub dropped by accident. Hub, you there?
Yeah, I had to rejoin. Yeah, it was how your thing went muted on me for some reason.
Okay, I just wanted to know if you were all good.
I'm good.
Got anything to add?
I think
Nah,
really,
bro, I'm good. I'm good, dude.
I think the
Herm?
main story of this is oh, he's muted. The main story of this really at the end of the day is the state of wrestling media. The Ricochet stuff, we'll find out probably more of that heading into at least by Collision. I assume we will find out if he is suspended or not. But I think now what was a wrestler saying a very hateful fucking thing has now turned into what is the state of wrestling media. And I don't know, incidentally, they all fucking took the attention that was supposed to be on Ricochet, all the negativity on Ricochet, and somehow shined it on themselves.
Or any of the fuck. I think they handled it wrong. And it's not just, it's just they're the ones who's getting the smoke today. Bad reputation for being in with EU. So that's kind of fucking there. Whatever a pillow he's had to fuck their company. But like I said, me out that ran with it at first, but it wasn't big. Her fight, so they're pissed. No, another good one I also want to shout out that actually does really good at her job, Denise Salcedo. So at least I want to at least give her recognition as one of the people who do it right, because she definitely is cringe. I will say that. I can't sit longer than fucking 5 to 10 minutes listening to her talk, but she does her job good, and she has resources, not resources, but she does have sources. I see MJ at the bottom vastly disagreeing with me. It's okay. I'm trying to think. What else? There was that. Oh, what's up, bud?
What's this?
I do not know what is. Oh, that is a lighter leash. Give me that, please. Thank you.
What's this?
I have a
You can't
question,
play with
DJ.
that. What you say?
I have a question.
What is up?
Do you remember when Tony Khan hired Will Washington from Fightful?
Yes, I do.
Do you think that put it in all of these people's mind that could be me one day?
Yes,
If I just
wholeheartedly.
if I play my cards right with AEW, that could be me one day.
Hold on. Sorry to interrupt you. I think we have history, non-rock and ropes history. MJ's finally back on the show. MJ, you there? Hello?
I don't know how to use spaces anymore. It's been so long, DJ.
Oh, I know. It's been forever. It's been like a year. Holy shit. I thought you fell off the face of the earth, I'm not gonna lie.
The IWC is below the line, as evidenced by this week. So there's really no value in engaging with it. But do you know why they all do what they do? The media that you're talking about, and it's actually embarrassing to even call them media because they're not. They're multimedia content creators. They're not media. They're not reporters. They're not journalists. They're creators. But do you know why they run cover and do what they do? Because half their audience would be pissed at them and stop subscribing if they did anything that crossed the line of tribalism, which in their mind would be negatively covering anything to do with AEW. So you end up in a situation where these people who are running grifts, basically creating their own narratives and spreading gossip, covering it as it's real news or journalism or reporting, it's all hearsay. It's all leaked stuff. It's all stooged off stuff from the talent, from the companies. It's whatever the companies and the talent want out there. So what happens is, in order for them to keep their monetization, to keep their business model intact, they can't alienate or they can't upset their ecosystem, their echo chambers. So they choose not to cover certain things because if they did, half their audience would hate them. So they don't. It's about money. It's nothing more, nothing less. It's not that AEW pays them to not cover it. It's a quid pro quo. It's about how they're perceived in the IWC, which is a very small, less meaningful portion of the overall addressable market for a wrestling company. That's why they don't pull this shit. They can't pull some of the shit they do with WWE because WWE has basically put them in a box. They'll leak what they want to leak. They'll use them to their advantage. They'll give them tip-offs on things when they want it to, when it's convenient for WWE. But they go make deals with real media companies, multimedia companies, national multimedia companies, international multimedia companies, not people who propped up a website and have a podcast and call themselves a reporter. And then all they do is spread gossip that they heard, and they want people to think like we're some kind of charlatans. We're some kind of people that know things that you don't. It's like a total fucking pyramid grift. And the people at the top are very protective.
I agree with that point, and I brought it up earlier that it seems like 95% of this quote unquote wrestling media aren't really reporters or anything, that they're just overblown content creators. I've given credit to, like I said, despite how a lot of people feel about Sean, he's good at his fucking job. At least he does get scoops. He does talk to people. And I say the same thing about Mike Johnson from PW Insider.
But getting scoops how? When's the last investigative reporting work that was done by a quote unquote wrestling media outlet?
Punk stuff, maybe.
Austin's return.
Punk stuff was all hearsay and tip-offs to people like Houseman and people like Meltzer and people like Alvarez and people like Fightful. It was all hearsay coming from different parties, which is why it resulted in CM Punk, the biggest star that company ever signed, being fired, because that kind of childish stuff is not professional, and it results in a company losing its biggest draw. Like, that is a direct reflection of how unserious that space is. I don't know. The other example was what, Austin? Someone said Austin. Austin's return?
Yeah, Austin.
I guess. I mean, again, it has to come from somewhere, right? Like, I'm talking about like true in the weeds journalism, investigating, doing your facts, findings, providing multiple sources, having the backup, the receipts, not just like sources say. Anything
Oh yeah,
that sources
I just
say
went off
is
saying that
tipped
about
off
Ebu
on
earlier though.
purpose. Yeah, it's all tipped off on purpose. If you want to go back to even Cody going to WWE, like that wasn't a planted story to get everyone excited about Cody's return to WWE. And that's benefiting who? It benefited WWE, it benefited Cody. And I'm sure that was not like I found the contract or I found the, you know, the driver who drove him to Vince's house. You know, like Brandon Thurston, my old friend, actually has done like real investigative work, and he doesn't get the credit he deserves, but he has done Freedom of Information Acts to get information that was previously under seal. He just did it recently with the WWE shareholder lawsuit. So if people want to talk about journalism in wrestling media, that's an example. But like stooging off what you're told by talent, it's a fucking game of high school telephone. So why anybody takes it serious, why anyone gives $1 to it, I mean, I get it. You're entertained. It's content, so you pay for content. Great. That's the game, but that's the game. It's not serious work. It's not professional. And I don't think that these people even claim to be professional reporters. In fact, I remember a very, very vivid quote where somebody flat out said, I'm not a professional reporter.
He said it on my show.
Well, so, like, just take the man at the word, right? Like, no shots. Just take him at his word. Why does anyone think differently? And by the way, the other point that you made a very good point about like they've taken the heat off Ricochet. Yeah, and they put it on themselves, and it's created tons of engagement and tons of clicks and tons of views, and it has protected any kind of real accountability because the conversation has shifted, and their audience are the ones who are amplifying it, attacking anyone who is now challenging any of it, and therefore this is like a completely non-story at this point. This is not serious stuff. Like, this is so beneath the line. I'm sorry. Like, you follow any fucking situation in the world today and then compare it to how the wrestling world gets treated in this little community online. It's like actually sad.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly.
It's totally sad.
Like people, a lot of people don't have the like. How do I say it? A lot of people are who are into wrestling and in this community are like, how do I explain it? Are extremely sheltered in a way. And it's like they don't know how the real world works. They just know how this fake world that they made up works. And Meltzer's the biggest fucking example of it.
I don't miss, DJ, anything to do with the IWC whatsoever because it's so like not the real world. But I will say a lot of people who seem to spend an inordinate amount of time creating content, creating YouTube shows, creating podcasts, trying to make media, like they're choosing to create a kayfabe world in which all of this stuff matters. And for them, that's their real life. And I always said the saddest thing is that for a lot of these individuals, they have no out. They can't just unplug. They can't just shut down their account and say, you know what? I'm going to go tweet about other shit related to nothing to do with wrestling for an audience that has nothing to do with wrestling. It's sad because they live in this world that's so real to them. You know what's the old meme? It's real to me, damn it. It's still real to me. Like, yeah, to them, this is all real and it's utterly meaningless. But it is, for some of them, how they make their money. And I understand their aggressiveness be protecting that because it's how they make their money. So for that end, why is anyone shocked that there's aggressiveness about that? There would be in any other industry, any other business.
Yeah, like I said, I found it weird that Sean randomly because Sean attacking people definitely came out of nowhere, especially after his day off, quote unquote.
It happens all the time. It's not surprising. I think the bigger thing is other outlets that really, really, really emphasize things people say. I don't want to say cancel culture, but like they definitely like, look, what was the discourse around Ronda Rousey's debut? It was all the things she said in the past. So then for a cohort, and I'm not talking about Fightful, I'm talking about just in general, for a group of people to then decide that something somebody said currently, right, go back a month. That guy Trey got released because of something he said in the past, right, on social media. So now all of a sudden it's not newsworthy, but the apology is newsworthy. Right there is the tell. Right there is the tell. If the apology is newsworthy enough to aggregate and amplify, but the original statement was not, then you know it's all bullshit. You know it's all performative, and you know it's all for an echo chamber. And you know it's to change the discourse. And unfortunately, or fortunately, it has worked. So credit to those who got it to work. They're not dumb.
Well, real quick, just to, I seen Hub share it, so I have to fucking say something about this. Hannah bitch shares this tweet saying, giving Ricochet a pass for apologizing for saying something stupid, and then immediately compares that to giving Lesnar a pass because she obviously knew what she was doing and is only suing because she wants money. Or Brock's not getting sued at all and is not implicated in doing anything wrong. All he got wrong was unsolicited piss videos and didn't go to meet up to fuck her. It's not like he went to fuck her.
A court has still not validated or decided on any of that, and yet people regurgitate stuff like that as fact.
And
so
it's crazy because, like, like I said, if you want to hate Vince for the whole Vince and Janelle thing, that's a Vince problem. You feel me? Vince put himself in that situation. No matter if what she's saying is true or not, he shouldn't have been fucking his girlfriend and then giving her a job and then doing her at work.
DJ, my point of view on all of this is that it is entirely narrative creation, creating narrative for the purpose of popping an echo chamber that funds all these media outlets. As somebody who was very involved with post-wrestling, I can tell you firsthand, it is entirely an echo chamber. As somebody who has studied for other reasons all of these outlets, it is entirely an echo chamber. They all make money from people that want to hear what they are saying, not because they want to hear their opinion, because they want their own opinions validated. They want their own beliefs to be echoed. So they don't have a choice. These creators, a lot of them, not even going to justify them by calling them reporters or journalists, or they are media, but they're creators. They're DIY creators. They are all just doing this to keep the funnel going. They all have staff to pay. They all have bills to pay. So what are they going to do? Piss off the audience who pays them? Never. That'd be bad business. And so when you see WWE stories, when you see Vince stories, when you see Grant stories, when you see AEW stories, when you see things ignored, understand why. And the fact that they set narrative, not cover news, there's a million news stories they don't cover. They choose not to cover. There's a million things that they could be looking into and doing real reporting on that they choose not to. They set narrative. That's fake news. Period.
Well, Larry, I was gonna say.
Now,
Larry,
when you talk about said narrative, why do you think there's that? Because there's always that aspect of news. When you're like when you sort of present yourself as like you're a caretaker of all this, you're an aggregator, right? All these things are news aggregation, and it's all about getting clicks, regardless if it's true or not. Like how often do we see, like, you know, even on the new people who are running the Observer, they're running all that bullshit about like, oh, AEW or WWE has interest in X wrestler from X company. How is that news? How is that news?
It's not news. Isn't that setting narrative?
Yeah, I mean, when you set narrative and when you try to like report on something, like when you try to report on something, you have to be honest with your reporting, and you have to use every kind of data that you have. That's what reporting the thing is. Otherwise, you're going to be, all you're doing is trying to farm for clicks, whether that be, you know, and I heard you guys talk about Brock Lesnar and the, you know, the soliciting of the urine pictures. That's gross. But the whole thing about setting
no,
the narrative,
he didn't solicit them. They were unsolicited. He didn't ask for the videos. They were just sent to
I
him.
don't know, man.
No one even knows what's true or not true about that case because nothing's been litigated and it's all just somebody's complaint.
This is all just being said. Like, honestly, I wouldn't even want to speak on it. I don't think we should speak on it because
I'm not interested in speaking on it.
Yeah, because like I like when you try to set narratives in pro wrestling. So like if Ricochet says stuff like, "Oh, you have MS. I'm happy you have MS, right?" And then you have like the idiots that go out on the line and say, "Hey, he's in character." And then you have the people say, "Oh no, why is this not being reported?" It's being reported in some places, it's not being reported in other places. And it's just like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? This guy just talked shit on Twitter, and he was an idiot because he said like he went too far, and that's the story, right? He went too far and told someone with MS that they should have MS, right? That's the story.
That's incredibly astute of you to say, by the way. And I agree. That's the story. Is that here is a guy who took the character of being a troll on the internet and didn't know where any lines were. And there's no one to rein him in from any stepping over lines. And that's the story. Is there an issue with talent who no longer understand that there are lines? They are performers. They represent a company. What they do is a reflection of that company. That's the story to cover. It's not a tweet. That's the story.
Yeah, the story is like wrestlers are stupid. Wrestlers should be like wrestlers are given like a code of conduct, right? When they're at work, and if they're working on their Twitter, I say Twitter, I don't say X. If they're working on their Twitter, does that not fall under like their code of conduct when it comes to their employment, right? Is there even a code of conduct for independent contractors? Do we know all that? If not, I don't know what there is to do or what there is to say, but I will say this, like in the court of public opinion, telling someone with MS that you should have MS is pretty fucked up. Like,
when's the last time, Larry, when's the last time you saw a WWE performer who is also an independent contractor but signed to WWE? And I'm not trying to make this like a WWE versus AEW thing, but these are the two promotions in the country. When's the last time you saw them or anyone from any promotion say something that seemingly crossed a line that, to your point, in the court of public opinion should not be crossed?
It's like you're gonna find that not a lot of people are gonna be doing that. Like you would never find someone that actually cares about their thing. Like you see guys that are working like Andrade, right? Andrade works on his X account, that calls out MJF, all that stuff. MJF does the same thing, but they're insulting each other, and that's how it's going. What you're doing when you do that, if you're gonna take this kind of stance, and whenever somebody takes a stance, like when Jack Swagger went ahead and threatened Thunberg when he was under AEW contract. Wonder what that's about. Huh? But like,
so it sounds like you're naming all people that work under one banner.
Well, also, WWE is very controlled, right? And it seems to make more sense to me.
Good
that
reason.
Also, the guys in AEW with really good representation, that like they get these big money contracts, aren't saying that shit. What you have here is somebody that kind of they went online, and I know people are gonna come at me and say like stuff, and I go online and I talk shit. I say wrestler stuff on my podcast. That's fine, and it's just it's an opinion, but I'm not going out there and I'm trashing people, and I'm not going out there and saying like someone deserves whatever, because that's gross.
I think the story here, if there is a story, there's one company that has talent that engage in online, whether you want to call it a work, a shoot, behavior, antics, whatever, promotion, that seems to not be controlled. And so the question then is there a control problem? And is it appropriate that talent are engaging like this when it is a direct reflection of the place that they work, the banner that they carry? And that translates to sponsorship. That translates to future media deals. It has already impacted talent with the media company that is a co-owner of them. We've seen the example with Briscoe and what he has said in the past. We've seen the example of Trey with what he has said in the past. Yet this company keeps finding itself in a situation now a third time, probably more than a third, but notably where talent has comments online that somehow create more drama than it is worth because there's not a dollar being made off this for AEW. If anything, there's negative perception of AEW. And that's why the narrative has been put in place to get the heat off of it and make it about the wrestling media. Because they don't want that attention on AEW. So if anyone wanted to do a real story about this, it would be a question along the lines of, okay, what controls are lacking? Why is there not more obedience to representing this company? And I don't mean obedience like they should be controlled people. All right. But like, if that's your policy, the talent can do whatever they want and go into business for themselves and say whatever they want online because people are nasty. That's fine. There's ramifications to that. And if the wrestling media don't want to focus on that, there are also ramifications on that. I don't know. Like, it seems pretty common sense to me, but I'm not one of them. So I don't know. DJ, does that not seem like common sense?
No, for the most part, especially if you got like I in terms of WWE and how they handle people who tweet shit that they aren't supposed to tweet, they either suspend them immediately and let people know they're suspended, or they've outright fired people. Wasn't it like, what's that one 3-man group at NXT? There was this one guy who was tweeting like insane right-wing shit, and he got fired for it. Lars Sullivan.
That was a while back.
No,
yeah,
it's not.
Not
his name was. It wasn't Lars Sullivan, but Lars Sullivan was also fired for that exact same thing.
Yep.
Jackson
Oh,
Riker.
Jackson Riker.
Yes, that was during what, 2020?
Yes, during the pandemic, he was tweeting some like right-wing unhinged shit, and he got fired for it. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, this is how companies operate. When you're a company that's job is to appeal to the public, and you have talent representing you. I mean, you like rarely ever see athletes do this, and when they do, usually it's a fucking thing on ESPN. Like
Kevin Durant when he got found out for all the whatchamacallit burner accounts he had
during the All-Star game. So now so let's play that one out. Imagine a world in which the NBA media is not going to talk about Kevin Durant during the All-Star game because, we don't want to take the attention off of the All-Star game. That was what everyone online was talking about. So, that's a serious media cohort that follow the NBA, and there's plenty of podcasts and YouTube shows and girls who have gone into blogs and done their own thing, like the pro wrestling space. But that's a serious group of people. Whatever this wrestling space is, are people who want to be part of the show, want to be part of the scene, want it to be known that they are part of the show and part of the scene, and want to stand above the average fan without realizing that their audience is like a 1% or 2% portion of the average fan. And I would actually suggest to any of them, if they wanted to grow their business, to just treat it like a real thing, not like it's some kind of kayfabe work shoot version of what reporting should be, because then you can appeal to a wider group of people. I don't know who the online fights appeal to if you're just like an everyday Joe Schmo who happens to watch wrestling once a week. And I think it plagues AEW and has hurt AEW's growth more than WWE's because WWE doesn't tolerate it. They didn't cancel press scrums because they didn't want to be asked questions. They're asked questions every fucking day by analysts on Wall Street, by their media partners, by people who cover real business. They didn't want to deal with the fucking dribs and drabs of I'm so-and-so from mypodcast.com and then have them trying to hijack and get performative points online. John Alba comes to mind as somebody who would do that. Like, this isn't about you, John Alba. You're here to ask a question to WWE. If you want to make it performative and ask your questions so that you can pop your crowd and get your Patreon subs, that's fine. We're just not going to do these press conferences anymore. And, we see AEW, what they choose to do. And that's because that's AEW's audience, and it has not helped AEW grow an audience. It has helped AEW retain a base. That base over the last 6 years has gotten smaller. Can they grow an audience? That would require like wholesale change in policy as to how they engage with the internet. But we all must remember, that's a company born out of the internet fan. So it's not really, their DNA is the internet wrestling fan. So it doesn't have the ability, in my opinion, to grow out of that, so long as it is managed by somebody who was a Wrestling Observer Forum kid. And that's not a, I don't mean to be mean about that. That's just a business analysis. Like, you could take the kid out of the forum, but you can't take the forum out of the kid.
No, I agree. Hub, quick
Okay.
question.
I'm out of here. Oh, for me or for someone else?
Oh, Hub, my bad.
DJ, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, dude.
Be well.
But yeah, I didn't even know you were streaming this on your fucking shit until I just looked up. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Hold on. Suck it, Pro Wrestling Times. I get more fucking viewers than you. I'm just kidding. Let me stop before I start World War III.
300.
But no, like I think we pretty much covered most of it.
Wait a second, because an interesting person liked my tweet. Wonder if he's gonna actually jump on.
Who, Baydala?
Yep.
He liked my repost of it.
I would love
We'll
to talk
see.
to Baydala. I talked to him
We'll see if he
recently.
pops on.
I mean, I love Baydala's a good. He's one of the good ones too. To an extent.
He's dope.
Another charlatan.
I don't really consider him a reporter, though.
He's not a bad guy. He's just a charlatan. You know what a charlatan is?
I do not know the definition of charlatan off the top of my head. I have been smoking.
Charlatans are the people who present themselves as being experts at things, and they want to tell you how it's happening, what's happening. They want to present that they are in the know, and they want everyone else to follow their lead and to understand, like, that they're somehow better than you because of whatever they're telling you, and that they know things. There's a lot of charlatans in the pro wrestling space because it's like a ladder, right? And chaos is a ladder. So you got a lot of folks who present themselves as something that they're frankly not. And if they were, I've studied enough of this to understand that, they'd have more to show for it than they do. And they're also trying to angle their way up the ladder, which is like, that's fine. It's a path they're choosing, maybe professionally, maybe monetarily. But at the end of the day, like, wrestling is fan culture. And there's been a complete deterioration of fan culture in wrestling online. It's made it an unenjoyable place to spend any ounce of time. It's not good for the industry. It's not good for one company more than other. And for that, it's kind of a shame that people don't realize that and kind of check it and say, hey, how do we make this better collectively? But again, they really want to be the elites and the elite fans. Like, I'm not talking about all elite. I'm talking about like just elitism in general. You see it in every walk of news, media, any interest group you go into. You will find people that want to be charlatans and want to present as more than something, which is just their fans.
Oh, should I invite him up, Hub? He's here.
Invite him.
All right, you got to give me like 30 seconds. I got to plug in my phone charger so my shit don't die. Hold on.
Invite him, but apparently my co-host anymore. But
oh shit, yeah. Hold on, let me make you co-host. Bam, there you go, co-host status.
All right.
Plugging in my phone as we speak. Oh, there we go. All right, right at the nick of fucking time. I was on 2% and not realized it.
That's wild. That would have been a terrible way to end this.
Man, you're on 2%. You're a wild man.
Listen, I am against the. I've ran spaces with like 1% for like an hour one time. Just put that bitch on low power mode.
Yeah, I do want to clarify this. I do not watch WWE. I don't really watch American pro wrestling because it's boring to me. It's very boring right now. Yeah, I do remember the Jackson Riker thing about him getting fired. I remember the thing about it was something about people supposed to go Black Lives Matter, and then All Lives Matter and then the whole conspiracy thing. I think they
Brian Kendrick got fired from AEW before he got debuted because a bunch of old videos fucking came out. So actually, there is one AEW argument.
There is a precedent for people getting let go from that company without by having like problematic views. Also, it's just where people pick and choose what to do, and that, and also like the Ricochet stuff. It's an ongoing thing, so they are reacting to it. It's just that what's being reported is just it's not being reported.
No, but that's the thing I also want to state too. Like, there are certain media outlets, quote unquote, that aren't biased or try their really best to be objective and not biased. Mike Johnson, PW Insider, Fightful for the most part. But I feel like there are some people like Dave and The Observer being the best example, whose credibility is completely shot and definitely varies one way more than another.
I mean, he does a lot of boosting for WWE, man. He said that WWE was the promotion of the year multiple times, man. He said that they're doing the best work that they've been doing in years.
In years where AEW was so exponentially bad, you really couldn't stand up for them without killing your credibility. Like, come on now. In the Dave argument is, well, he said WWE was the best for a few years. I would too if I had no other option. I didn't want everyone to think I was a lying idiot. I'm not going to just hand people ammo.
I mean, when you think about what's good and what's not good, I don't think American Pro Wrestling is good at all. I think American Pro Wrestling right now is the worst it's ever been. It's boring.
Oh, I agree.
Everybody's old. Like, we're seeing the same events over and over again. We're seeing the same people get the same pushes over and over again. This is why I have to go to something like CMLL or like not even New Japan, like, because New Japan's also in that same rut where they have one guy and they haven't built anybody else.
Not AAA has actually been pretty good for the past 6 months.
Yeah, AAA is the best WWE product there is. If you like WWE, you should like AAA, honestly. The SOA, like fucking Grande Americano might be their biggest face in that company right now in Mexico. Like, people don't get it, but like it's something.
But the whole point of what I was trying to say was like, we can't sit here and just loop all media together because we dislike what they do out here, because it is a hustle. I said, from a hustler's perspective, I can't do nothing but respect the grind and the hustle they put into their craft. Like Sean, Dave used to. He's already well established enough. A lot of people just take his word as gospel still.
Dave hustles as good as anybody. If you look at and analyze what has happened in the discourse over the last year plus, Dave Meltzer has like dominated it basically by aggregation and continuously doing what he does online, which is to keep attention on himself so he can try to attract any new audience. Like, Dave Meltzer's actually worked everybody in that space as good as anybody and should be applauded for doing so.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Meltzer has so many sources within each company, and this is why
that's where I'll highly disagree with you. I will highly disagree with you. With the sources in every company, no. AEW, he definitely has sources. WWE, no, because a lot of his sources either aged out or don't work there no more.
I mean,
he's also fed fake news, but like when
all the time, and he runs with it.
All wrestlers feed fake news, sir. Everybody sees fake news.
He's ran with stories that were immediately disproven of the same day. A great example, Alpha, or it wasn't. Was it Alpha or Sika that he called a day early?
Yeah, but DJ, what happens when he puts out something like LA Knight and Brock Lesnar for Mania or whatever, right? And then all of a sudden, a few weeks later, when that's disproven, everybody is clipping Dave. Everybody's amplifying. Oh, they're making jokes about Dave. Do you realize how hard it is in an ecosystem to stay that omnipresent? He has mastered it. Yeah. He has his haters promoting him more than he has to. He doesn't engage with them. He doesn't engage with the haters, right? Dave doesn't engage with his haters. He engages with random accounts, basically to get amplified and clipped and screenshot so that everybody else spreads him, so that he remains as omnipresent in a space as possible. It's masterful.
I
He
agree.
has been
But
working
to
in
that,
the sports media for like almost 50 years, man. He's the king of this. Like you can't like get past Dave. Like big respect to Big Dave.
no,
And
see,
by the way,
that's why I disagree with you wholeheartedly. I say with at least the past, since AEW's existence, Dave's credibility has gone more and more further down the toilet.
has his popularity gone down the toilet,
Brother,
DJ?
you're talking about credibility in pro wrestling. Credibility in pro wrestling does not matter. This is
It
the argument
depends in
you've been
terms of
making. What's being covered in pro wrestling does not matter because it's inherently like lame. Nothing about this. Like there's no injury list that comes out when guys are injured. There's nothing serious about pro wrestling coverage. It's extremely all performative, and it's all about keeping keeping up the image. Like what Sean Sapp does is not news, and he said it's not news. It's all about getting as many hits as possible, which Dave is a master at. Which is what Sean Sapp does when he.
I wouldn't say he's a master. Because if that was the case,
right now.
If that's the case, we gotta say No DQ is the best fucking website out here in terms of getting clicks. They get just as many clicks as the Observer.
I personally don't use No DQ because my computer doesn't let me go on there from the virus.
He just asking
that and PW Insider.
Yeah,
I have not
DJ.
seen PW Insider ever.
Ever. Like for all the Mike Johnson talk, I don't ever fucking see Mike Johnson aggregated, clipped, a link to a website, nothing. As far as your point about No DQ, DJ, you are so correct. What they've created, and I'm not going to get into it, is if you're objectively just saying as a business what has been created, like hats off to the people or whatever the dude's name is who figured out that I can create a way to basically hack the algorithm to nonstop be promoted with thousands of accounts that don't follow it, that it has somehow infiltrated. It's actually pretty remarkable. If you study any of this, the online influence game, it is unbelievable how some of these tactics come out of wrestling.
Yeah, dude. Do you know how many like right-wing, alt-right follows and spreads out, dude? That's why it's so it shoots out there. Even though like I'm not looking at anything, all of a sudden No DQ is there in my For You post, even though I don't follow them. Now they do follow me.
It's not authentic. I've done the work on No DQ. I mean, I've seen it all, right? Like, if you look at who No DQ follows, and you realize that they don't follow a single person related to wrestling at all, and you're like, why are you following these accounts with 29 followers that don't follow? Like, it basically has found all these fake accounts, but because it follows it, because it probably engages with it in some level, it's able to hack the algorithm and remain omnipresent. And that's the name of the game.
Yeah. And like when you're talking about the
hold on, real quick, Larry. Hold on, one second. Just
Bring
because
Drew up, he joined.
I was gonna say, I got you, MJ. Hold on. That's what I was doing right now. Drew, you there?
I mean, yeah, I had to ask to come up after you guys said that you're gonna send me an invite. I'm sitting here waiting. Like
no. I thought Hub sent you the invite.
I'm only breaking balls.
But thank you for taking your time to come.
You don't have to thank me, man. It's all one space, man. I go into a lot of people's spaces and speak, and I saw somebody tag me and I liked it, and that's what this whole thing's about. To MJ's comment, listen, MJ, we've gone back and forth for I don't know how long. I have no ill will towards you, but calling me a quack, basically,
you a quack?
I go look up what a charlatarian. I mean, we know what this is. You're talking in big. Like, it's not a big word, but instead of just sitting here saying
charlatans,
Drew's a charlatan, he's a fraud, he's a quack. I mean, I could use so many different words for it. Like, he's a pretender, he's an imposter. I understand. And
why are you using words I didn't use, Drew? If you have no ill will, can you stick to the word I used? A charlatan.
So what is the definition of that? A person.
I will read you the Webster dictionary because you obviously are pretending you don't know the word charlatan.
I do. I know the word. It's basically a person who pretends to have special knowledge or like inside information, a fraud, basically, which is fine. I understand where you come from, but And you're entitled to that opinion. And it's fine. You've had this opinion of me for years.
I've had this opinion of a lot of people in wrestling media who present themselves as more than regular fans.
But who makes you the end all be all to claim that? So
Nobody.
are you?
It's my personal opinion.
Okay, thank you. So that's what I want. You cut off a couple.
Opinion.
Sure, you cut off a couple people in here when they were saying something, and you know what the purpose of this is. Did you know what the purpose of that is? And you're right. And you know I know.
Brought me up.
Do you know I know? I'm not saying you didn't. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. Do you know?
How are you even speaking? It says you're a listener here. Is this on multiple feeds?
I have no idea. I'm on my phone.
It's Twitter glitching, and my bad. I didn't expect this to turn into World War III.
No, hold on. There's no World War III.
DJ, I've joined 2 spaces in the last year, and they've both been for Andrew or with Andrew.
Yeah, I have no.
Okay.
There is no like.
Blood.
There is no
I've asked for him to follow me multiple times.
That's all I wanted to make sure of.
There's no legitimate beef between me and MJ. I don't know MJ personally. I think MJ is a smart individual, but I think for somebody to sit here and say, "Do you know the purpose of no DQ?" and you know the purpose of that, and he's not wrong. He's not. He's speaking factual. No DQ has cracked the algorithm. They stay relevant when in a space they shouldn't. And that's not a knock on them. They're just very smart.
I'm applauding it.
Sure. But I don't understand is how you are going to say one thing about myself or somebody else, but you're the authoritative figure on that? That doesn't make any sense.
I'm giving an opinion.
He's not saying that at all. He's just saying like what he feels like what's in the space, what's in the wrestling news media, which is a joke to me.
And by the way, Andrew, in case you're For You is not updating or sharing this information with you, more people in the last 3 years, like on Twitter or whatever.
Oh, gotcha.
Like more people have been moving towards the side of like pro wrestling media is fucking cooked.
It's garbage.
Than ever before. So I'm giving my opinion, and other people give their opinions, and nobody's an authoritative figure. We're all fucking fans of wrestling.
100%. But again, I don't claim to be an expert in anything. I'm not an expert in being a father. I'm not an expert in any sort of field that I'm in. I believe that I'm well versed in a lot of different things, or I have experience. I believe you're very well versed in stocks, and I believe you're very well versed in other sort of things that have monetary things attached to it, and impressions, and social media, and everything else like that. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that my opinion of professional wrestling trumps anybody else's. The only thing that I've ever tried to do in this space is have some people who don't look at the business side of professional wrestling a bit differently. Because you have a lot of people, and there's some people who don't give a shit. Great, I'm not their audience. But you can't sit here and tell me that a lot of these wrestling fans have an iota of business sense, because they don't. And I can tell you that I'm probably a small pea in the big ocean that is where Nick Khan and Ari Emanuel swim in. Because they're way well versed in business than I am.
Andrew, when I was talking about the Iran war impacting the economics of WWE and AEW and the Paramount deal maybe a month ago, and all of a sudden now people are picking up on it. It's very easy to follow trends and see what might be happening, and I say, these shows are going to be canceled, and we saw that with F1 canceling a couple of their events in the Middle East.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good. I've said this before, and I don't gets clipped, it gets out, whatever. People can get mad. I don't believe AEW is in a good position when it comes to Paramount Plus, and I've screamed that from the mountaintops. Whether it happens or not is really. I don't run the company, so I could give my opinion, but that's just what it is. And what I see, I don't like. So, that's the only thing that I would ever give on that type of stuff. I think I want to say that I put it out in September, that I thought the Netflix thing was never going to work. Maybe it was October. Nick LaPiccolo had it out way before I did. He flew into my DMs and was like, "Hey, we share the same opinion, blah, 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 whatever."
Yeah, and now I don't think the Paramount deal is ever going to go through because they're losing funding. The Saudi fund is getting drained weekly. We're seeing that there's a possibility that Qatari money might be pulling out on that, and a lot of what's being invested within that deal is Qatari and Arab money. So like,
sure. Well, I mean, listen, I thought WWE would have been owned by the Saudis by now. It just didn't happen.
Soon.
But the other
Soon,
thing I
you
want
know.
to say too is that you saw that, and you guys can, hate on him all you want or whatever. The guy who went on Fightful today, right, on Sean's show, whatever.
Yeah,
it was,
the Minty guy.
Sure.
I saw it because Sean
You
shouted
see
me
that,
out.
and listen, you could call it. It's a joke. It's this. It's that. Like he put that he was as seen on Fightful, in his profile. So or his bio, whatever it is, and it could be a joke. But at the end of the day, all these motherfuckers want is one thing, and that's the rub.
Attention. Yes.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's
Go
ridiculous.
do something
I
else.
agree.
They don't have anything else in their life, man. That's
Can I address the things that Drew brought up regarding what I was saying before?
As long as you don't get burned in the fire beforehand.
Oh yeah, shit. There's a fire alarm going off in this garage. Drew, I just give my
some people
opinion.
might want you to burn. Get out of that garage, though.
Yeah, these days, a lot of people want me to burn. It's like 1944.
Wow.
Drew,
A lot of people won't pick up on that, but I did. That's terrible.
I understand, and that's well, it was a joke for the few that get it, and for those who don't, let's move on. Drew, I think that you are very well versed. It's why I initially engaged with you once upon a time. I'm giving my opinion. I may state things that come across as, oh, he's saying it like it's factual, or he's saying it like he knows something. I believe in the research and the studies that I've done, and I believe in how it applies to pro wrestling. And that's only my opinion. Others can form their own opinions. I think it's great that everybody form an opinion. I think it's great that there's a space here where you and I can share discourse without wanting to, somehow one-up each other with insults. Because I'm not interested in that. And in fact, that's why I think the IWC is in many cases beneath a line, because that's what it devolves into.
And I will never
more
be the
than
guy who
real
responds
discourse.
to you with "find me at a certain place at a certain time and let's
Right.
fight." I'm well
Right,
over that. I'm damn near.
I will never be the guy that calls you unsolicited and says I will punch you in the face. I think that's like, oh, okay. Like,
Okay, you know what? Screw you both, because don't think you're better than me, because I would do some shit like that, okay?
There's a couple of things that I would fight somebody over, and wrestling is not one of them.
Right. But Drew, if we can tie this back to the media, in your opinion, is the wrestling media a real apparatus of reporters and journalists, or is it a bunch of fans who have created business models to monetize their fandom and at the same time create a form of entertainment that appeals to a audience, oftentimes feeling like a bit of an echo chamber based on whoever their audience is?
MJ, if you love something, you never do it for free.
If you love something, you never do it for free. I'm going to think on that one.
Well, think
But that's
about
a good
it.
line. That's a good line.
I mean,
If you
these guys
something, you never do it
these
for
guys
free.
and girls love wrestling. They've built a brand and they're charging people for it. It's entrepreneurship 101. I mean, you know that.
Of course.
Do I believe that some of these people should be speaking on some things? Hell no. Do I believe
Okay, thank you. That was going to be my next question.
Well, I mean, the thing too is that like when people are talking on their review shows or their post shows about he should have went left when he went right in this match, it's like, yo, how many matches you been in? What are we doing here? You know, if Buster Only's telling me how Aaron Judge should be swinging a bat, I'm gonna be like, Buster, can I please listen to A-Rod? Thanks, dude. You know what I'm saying?
But I can say something sucks, right? Like I
Sure,
could say
that's
I
your
didn't like
opinion.
that match
Absolutely.
at all because it was boring and repetitive and like just nothing.
Absolutely. But you're not going to sit here and critique somebody's work rate, are you?
You know, I could say that somebody looks very slow and sluggish, like CM Punk.
That's different. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if you sit back and you're like, man, that match had no psychology, or man, you know, there was too many of this and too many of that, and they really didn't play up to the crowd. And it's like, okay, have you ever done this?
Do we not say that when we talk about pro wrestling? Isn't that not what the discussion of pro wrestling is?
Not for me.
Oh man, like, well, I talk about pro wrestling like, oh, I like that this person hit this person really hard because I love Stan Larry Hansen, and like Stan Hansen and Terry Funk are the barometers for me. And like, if something is cool, like I'll like it. But I never like sit here and say like, Oh, I
think-
would have done the pile driver differently.
Right, exactly.
can't
That's what
go
I'm
say
trying
that.
to say. I think we're on the same page here. Like, I will say that, some people lay their shit in. I'm with you. That, like, Funk and Hansen looked real. They suspended your disbelief. And I'm sure sometimes they did catch somebody a couple times or whatever. Steve Austin, same stuff. But I'm sitting here saying I don't think you're telling people how to lay out a match when you've never wrestled. That's my point.
And
No,
Andrew,
that's stupid. Nobody would do that.
Andrew,
Go ahead. Yes.
the people who do that, right? There's a difference between critique and criticism from a fan's subjective point of view and those who are, like you describe, seemingly trying to come across as experts and present like they somehow know how things should happen in a match when, to your point, they've never been in a match. Are those people not acting as I would call like charlatans?
Yes, but you lumped me into
so-
that.
Well, okay. If I was specific to you, there are certain aspects on the business side where, and again, you've explained yourself, and I actually think that you provide a value where you explain things to an audience that likely has no fucking clue what EBITDA stands for. I think that you provide a great value in that. Right.
Yeah, if somebody said to me, hey, we're going to talk to Ari Emanuel and he's going to go against Andrew Baidala, I'm going to get cooked, as the kids would say. He's like beyond business than more than I am. But there's different levels. And to my audience, which you said, my audience is really, and the entire IWC for the most part, with the exception of maybe you, I can't remember his name, your buddy from Baltimore or whatever, who's a lawyer. He's well-versed in some things too. Dope or something. I can't remember his actual name, but whatever.
Dose, yes.
Yeah. There's some people on here, Brandon Thurston, all these other people. I understand they're well-versed in business, and I say well-versed more than the IWC audience. So yeah, I provide something, not everything, because I can't.
Andrew, I will raise my hand and I will retract lumping you in because upon your explanation and upon me hearing it, I think that you're absolutely right. I think now I personally don't think very highly of the entire IWC scene, so it's a little bit like you're absolutely right. There are some really dumb people that present, and they're not even trying to do it as media podcasters. They're trying to just grift something else on for X views. I don't know, for
and I will never expose my DMs.
Those TikToks, those YouTuber people that make all those things.
Right, and you want to know what those?
I love that you two are getting along and have come to an agreement. It's awesome.
Well, do you know that there are so many people on TikTok who rip off my stuff or whatever else and post it as their own? And they literally will bookmark my video and they'll go on TikTok and they will say verbatim what I say. And they pass it off as their own. Fine. It's basically like, I don't know about it. People want to copy my stuff. I'm flattered. But I will say that, to your point, the DMs that I get, and I'll never expose them. Can you please explain to me this like I'm 5? Oh my, it's every day. And that's fine. I'm happy to answer it to the best of my ability. But I think at a certain point, we need to understand that there is a limit to what I can provide in terms of expertise in business. I'm well.
There is a lack of educating the audience, and I think it's in favor of telling the audience what it wants to hear. Because to your point before, and I'll leave because this alarm is probably serious at this point. The businesses they've created, right? They appeal to an audience, like with any business, and they have to satisfy that audience. So if we bring this back to what I initially joined the show and wanted to DJ as a voice in the community, what happened this past week was that a group of publications didn't want to spotlight something that would have negatively presented a company and its talent in a certain way because their audience would not have received it well, and that would have been alienating for some of their paying customers.
Or do you think that somebody from management or somebody who is high in the company said, please don't talk about this yet, we're trying to figure it out internally?
I don't want to venture into conspiracy about management paying people or management influencing people like that, because frankly I think it's more quid pro quo. We'll continue to give you access, you continue to kind of
I don't think
I agree with MJ 100%.
Control.
getting money.
Quid pro way, we all share an audience that we're both trying to monetize. So it's an unspoken rule that you don't piss off your audience because
Yeah, it's like a lawyer taking a case pro bono. I'm fully aware. I'm just saying I don't think that any of these people are paid by a certain company. But I mean, I don't know. I truly didn't see anything until late last night, very early this morning, and I was like, I'll look at that in the morning. And my DMs were flooded. And I'm not a major publication, so I was like, whatever, I'll say this, and if people dig it, they dig it. I think there's a responsibility from the media to touch on this, but it is what it is.
There's only a responsibility in so much that they've touched on many cases prior, like examples prior of comments made. In fact, we saw what was a major talking point coming old comments. What was a major story a month ago? It was Trey Miguel and his old comments. So when something happens in real time and there's not a reaction to it, it does feel more like a cover-up than maybe it should, and it could be totally true that people just didn't see it. That is totally believable. I think a lot of people have these echo chamber feeds where they're probably not seeing the negativity and only the positivity, and that's more a reflection of the algorithm at work. Andrew, in your opinion, should Ricochet be terminated?
Oh, I don't. I think people have done far worse and people have done far less and either been blackballed or terminated or suspended. So I think it's case by case, situation by situation. And I'm giving a very pure answer here because I don't want to see anybody lose their job. But I think this should be an example of something which is basically put out. I don't think these professional wrestlers need to really take the approach of being habitually online and arguing with fans.
Drew, I don't think the PR approach. I think that was a very intelligent one. I think that it's a case by case thing. I don't know if you heard this portion of it, but we were talking about the different examples that have existed. At some point, and particularly now might be that point when AEW is facing an uncertain media landscape in the future, Ricochet has not added to their bottom line. Ricochet has not. Ricochet drawn at a level that you would say is making the company more money than it would make without him. And I think at some point an example has to be made because of what you said, these talent too online, they feel too comfortable, they don't know where the line is when it comes to working and not working. An example should be made at some point, and maybe it's not Ricochet, but there'll be another one of these where as a boss,
MJ, I don't
Tony
know.
has to lay the line down and say, talent, do not cross this line or you too will face the consequence.
I don't know if that's going to be the case here because truthfully, I don't know who will catch wind of this and I don't know what executive or what talent backstage or what producer or what senior vice president might catch wind of it and relate to this because somebody in their family has MS or somebody in their family died of MS or whatever the case may be. So again, case by case, it really depends on how high this goes and how up the food chain this goes. I don't like the fact
that Tony is aware. You could assume Tony is aware, given the
aware of this situation.
That's as high up as it can go.
Well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, if we start getting into WBD and some other stuff, no, because Tony does have to answer to some people. The other thing too here that I don't like is I don't like the fact that WWE fans stand on business and only come out of the woodwork when it's stuff with AEW and vice versa. That shit drives me nuts. Like there should be just a line drawn in the sand. Don't cross it. I don't care what company you work for. These fans need to stop grandstanding and standing on business for some talent that work in this company or that company.
Yeah, I don't know where this fandom came from to defend companies, but I don't remember it being that way. And yeah.
Andrew, based on the last time that we spoke too long ago, really, you're the only person.
Jay.
Right? They listen to you. The MyAW app. So I'm going to put this out there since when we've spoken, they've listened to the conversation. At boss needs to be a boss, and a boss needs to see people that work for him. You're a representation of me. You're a representation of this brand. Here's where we're trying to go with this company. This is something that is not excusable. There's no call. There's no reason that you did this other than you took it too far. Whether it's a termination or it's a message for the rest of the locker room, you have to set this. You have to set the course. You have to set the direction that you want to. Because if Rick is on TV tonight, it's 9 o'clock. Maybe he's already been on TV. All it's doing is saying that there'll be a block months before another example or another incident. And this is a company that is facing an uncertain multi-$100 million media situation that has direct ramifications on how many people it can employ, the sponsors it can attract, to continue to generate revenue, the way it can pay talent. And we talked about the WBD and when does it lead and set an example? And if it means making an example out of somebody that hasn't materially improved business, I'd like to just see a spine be. I'd like to see that happen.
I guess anything's possible. We'll have to wait and see on that one. Everything else,
like that is should not be.
Hold on. Suspended Sammy Guevara for something he said before AEW even existed. Like, there's already a precedent.
And Max Caster.
Well, there's
yeah,
a huge there's a
got taken
huge
off
difference
TV.
though. Like you guys know this. There's a huge difference between a habitual pain in the ass and somebody who just made a mistake. And I understand. We have a lot of things. Ricochet is going to be held to the same standard as Sammy Guevara in the terms of the comments and what happened.
Hold on, back when Sammy Guevara got suspended, he was in a better position than Ricochet's in now, arguably. Like
He
now,
said he would rape somebody, my man.
But that was before the company even existed. He wasn't saying some old lady deserved.
All right, so hold up a second. Hold on. If you found a clip of me, because you won't, but if you find a clip of me from 15, 20 years ago using the N-word or calling people a derogatory term for gay people or anything else like that, you don't think that that's going to surface and there's going to be hell to pay if I'm with a company like this? Absolutely. Look at what they do to everybody every day.
We're seeing Cesar Chavez right now, man. And he's been dead for like 40 years.
They try and cancel JD every week because of his old clips.
Excalibur is on television every week, and he has clips doing both of the things you just mentioned.
Well, I mean, you're gonna have to take that up with Tony. I don't work with AEW. I mean, I hear you, but I mean, like I said, I don't think it's right, but it seems like certain things for certain people, and we saw the comparison: Trey Miguel and Ronda Rousey. Why is one situation?
Something to say to you. What do you got to say, Aaron?
Bye bye.
Okay, he wants to say bye-bye. Apparently,
Bye,
he's
Aaron.
kicking me off the space because he wants me to play Batman. Sorry to abruptly end it, guys.
Way
I
more
gotta go do
important.
dad things.
You go be a dad.
Yeah. You hear him in the background
Yeah.
saying yeah. But yeah, no, thanks everyone for coming by. Thank you, Drew, for accepting the invite. Thanks everyone else for coming by. Thank MJ, don't be a stranger, even though you hate the IWC.
This,
And
this was a useful conversation in the sense that it was like appropriately above board. I would like more conversations to be appropriately above board. There's not many of those that I see around, and then there's a lot of like the fan tribalism stuff, which is it is what it is. DJ, thank you. You host a great space. Take care.
thank you. And like I said, rock and rope Saturday, DJ and the Heel Sunday. Those are going to be the things this week. So pay attention to those. And I will catch y'all on the flip side.